love in the time of Corona. This year, Pluto and Jupiter come together in Capricorn 3 times, on April the 4th, June 29th, and the 12th of November. This is a time for each one of us to examine our fears, the drama in our lives. What is real? What is fiction? What illusions are we holding on to? It's a deep time of questioning and finding out the truth. A time when big things become small and small things become very big. The virus, for instance, is very small but has become very large. There was a Pluto-Saturn conjunction in Cancer in 1931. The invention of the electron microscope made tiny things very big, and nuclear power was also discovered. This pandemic's plutonic aspects amongst the invisible is so small that you can only see it under a microscope. What are we looking for? The search is certainly on for the truth. Pluto, incidentally, rules debt. Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn is all about consequences of our actions, of the powers that be. What has happened in the past always has consequences. Saturn is about authority, and soon Mars will join the party and want to speed things up. It will be a bit like driving a car with the brakes on. We are urged to look at where corruption lies and the wrongdoings that are being magnified. We are on the brink of social, political unrest. The consequences are coming out. Jupiter and Pluto create a tremendous search for truth, and we are mostly preoccupied with the question, what's true and what's not true? Many people are asking, what is happening? How did this happen so suddenly? People are questioning what their leaders are doing, and where are the good examples of leadership? Who and where are the good conscious leaders? In the absence of them, powers will fall. There will be a personal, political, environmental and economic unrest, which will lead to some sort of reset. The hidden nature of the corrupt will ultimately be found. The freedoms that we're used to will change as we move towards building a new world. People will become impatient with social unrest. There may even be violence. When the UK were out hoarding food and toilet paper, the Americans were doing the same and buying guns. Amidst this crisis, good things are also coming our way. There's an amazing opportunity for us to transform the economy, our personal lives, the social structures. These were all in trouble before the virus. We are all having to deal with our own debts on all levels, including our karmic debts. What is true? What resonates with you? Now is a time for you to do your due diligence, to really look at why this is happening. The positives. There's more stillness, silence. People are singing to each other, praising the NHS. Nature is returning. We're all helping each other, and the air is cleaner. The quiet time is an opportunity for us to work together, to find ways to work and find the truth. What is your truth? What are the lies you are upholding? People have died for freedom. We must acknowledge that our freedom has gone, and there will be more storms ahead. I've gained great lessons in my life during difficult times when I've been challenged, and there have been some amazing things that have come out from those times in my life. We have needed to clean up the planet because we've been choking the economy. The governments have been printing more money, which eventually will dissolve into nothing. We're all having to deal with the consequences, how each one of us has turned a blind eye. How wasteful have you been? Perhaps you've slowed down enough to become more efficient and effective in being less wasteful. What are you learning during this process? The microcosm of your life is reflecting the macrocosm of our leaders and governments. It's time to stop hoarding, to share things, valuing the food on your table, valuing the small things that you have taken for granted. I know I've taken too much for granted. I'm noticing little things like birdsong in the mornings, the sunshine, the clean air, the foxes roaming the London streets. I notice how nature is rebellious, not complying with the 2 meters social distancing rules. Make sure you search for the truth, find out what is happening, get to the bottom of what is really going on, and share information that's reliable, that holds integrity. Please paste any sources in the comments below. Be mindful of where your integrity is. Are you being honest in everyday dealing? We want to hear the truth from our leaders, but are you being truthful? Are you embellishing the truth? Is your ego ruling? Be aware and conscious what you are creating. During this time of change, it's important to have unity with other people, to support those who are suffering or struggling. Are you using this time to step back and reflect? This might be hard for some, especially in the current climate, which is fast-paced with constant stimulation. How often do we have a chance to reflect and meditate individually and collectively? Mother Earth is getting time out, and it's amazing how rapidly she's coming back into balance the moment she's not being exploited and polluted, a bit like our own immune systems. It's time to reorientate, to reconfigure, heal and transform, to be open to new paradigms. We have this natural retreat to step back and go within and discover your innate, authentic creativity, to heal, to assess how you are living, and to know what's most important to you. This is not a time to follow typical patterns in your life, or even try to go back to what you feel is familiar. For some of you, this might create a conflict of what you believe to be true. Much like a mutating virus, digital services and devices keep churning out new threats along with the new benefits, making mitigation efforts a daunting and open-ended challenge for everybody. The loss of freedom, privacy and security comes with the increased corporate and governmental power to surveil us, along with the increased lack of care for sustaining democratic governance. With a sick labour force, AI and technological displacement of labour is touted as a sensible solution in the time of Corona. And what about the addictive technology that is being rolled out, that has captured the attention and mind space of the youngest generation? All in all, digital life is now threatening our psychological, economical and political well-being. We are currently living in a culture that fosters attention deficit disorder because of hyperconnectivity. Unfortunately, major social media corporations have discovered that anger and insecurity keep people glued to their screens. As long as profit is more important than people, digital life will only grow more destructive. People's cognitive capabilities will be challenged in multiple ways, including their capacity for analytical thinking, memory, focus, creativity, reflection and mental resilience. These deficits are found most commonly among those who live a highly digital life. They are being attributed to near constant connectivity online. What a gift we have at the moment. We're actually being excluded from being defined. But is your need for an audience pulling you into old patterns and conventional paradigms? With no label, you can step off the beaten track to follow your own creative path. The world has come to a place of crisis and transformation which releases you from becoming the very thing you fear, having been traumatized by your ancestral past. Respond by becoming non-violent with yourself as you wake up and go through a transformational process. It may leave you feeling alive, a serious warrior passionate about healing and justice, amongst diversity, following a path with no specific religion or beliefs, a path of love, where connection and acceptance of diversity becomes the new mainstream. The global energy at the moment is meant to shift with the paradigms you're moving into. Stop getting caught in competition to do more, to be more accomplished, to have more. When you open your heart to collaboration and connection, you begin to live from the heart, listening to your inner knowing and attuning to your innate creativity. You discover your capacity to remember who you truly are. Your creative spark uniquely brings you into alignment with your true self that is profoundly healing for the world. This pandemic is a turning point. All plagues challenge society and culture, halting some paradigms whilst accelerating others, shifting consciousness far and wide, with consequences we will not discover for years or decades. One thing we know about pandemics is that at some point it will end. The one thing you don't know is who you will be then. This is something unprecedented. It is affecting everyone around the world with a similar pace. Global behavioural change is at the same rate everywhere, and it highlights the interconnected nature of the world. The democracies all over the world will have undergone a similar huge shift, a large-scale mass project, the likes we've never seen since the war, where governments have asked you to change your behaviour in ways that are not based on your self-interest, but for those of the community, based on mass mobilisation. The economic and political systems have become dysfunctional. Too many people consume far more than is necessary. Individualism has dwarfed concern for the common good. The climate crisis continues to intensify. The old ways do not work anymore. Only crisis produces real change. When that crisis occurs, the actions that are taken depend on the ideas you have around you at that moment. A new consciousness involves imagining new ways of responding to the crisis you are experiencing. This is your basic function, to develop alternative ways of being alive and conscious until the impossible becomes the inevitable. Crisis presents opportunities for healing and a shift in consciousness beyond saving lives to making life more beautiful, more hopeful, more inspirational, more creative. And I want you during this process to preface self-awareness. There is a brilliant light that resides within you. Find it. No doubt there is darkness in the world, but light will always conquer darkness. This begins and ends with you. How you temper the light and darkness within. By overcoming your personal flaws and limitations, and by doing the things that connect you to your highest self, you can transform whatever blind spots you have, along with the illusions you've created about your life. What you typically fight against and reject, deny or fear becomes your biggest hindrance and is also the key to your liberation.